everyone, let's talk about one of my favorite plants, Amaranth. You've probably seen it around, whether you know it or not. The wild kind is called pigweed, and you see it on the edges of fields or vacant lots or in the alley. They don't have this lovely red color, they're more of like a blonde brown color, but same plant. The wonderful thing about these, to begin with, is they have many uses because you can eat the leaves. I eat these all summer long. I plant this in mid-summer about, and by monsoon season they're really taking off. And so all summer long, when the rest of the garden is really struggling, I can at least eat these lovely and nutritious leaves. And then once it cools down just a touch, these glorious seed heads come up, and they're just beautiful. And the bees love them, and of course they produce seeds which are edible and delicious. It's now early November and the seeds are just about ready, so we're going to cover how to harvest them, how to puff them, and most importantly, how to make candy from them. Once you've harvested the seed heads, they need to dry out a bit so you can get them out of them. And these have been sitting here for a couple weeks now, enough time, and they are good and crispy. The next thing that we have to do is separate those seeds from the chaff, which is the rest of the seed head. And that is threshing, and then winnowing, which is to get rid of all the little bits of chaff. I'm wearing gloves because they are a little spiny. They have some little pokey hairs in them, so protection is best. There are all kinds of ways to thresh and winnow, and everybody's got their favorite. For threshing, you can put them in a paper bag and crumple them. You could put them in a pillowcase and, beat them with a stick. I just like to put on a pair of gloves and kind of rub them between my hands, and that seems to get them pretty broken up. It took me about 30 seconds to roll all that between my palms, and now you're left with a pile of grain and sticks. You can pull these out. You don't need to be super detailed, just get the big ones out, any leaves that you see, but this is just phase one, so you don't have to get super particular. We'll get the rest out in the next step. But this is just a good start to get you ahead of the game. You can see what we're left with here. And next is the winnowing. I'm going to get the chaff out of here. I'm just left with lovely seeds. For the next step of filtration for winnowing phase one, I am using the totally cheater method of the flour sifter. So theoretically, the seeds are big enough to go through, and most of the chaff is not. So I say the seed is small enough to go through, and most of the chaff is not. It's not perfect, but you can see already those are seeds right there. There's still some chaff in there, but we'll get that in the next one. But yeah, super fast and easy. I'm actually going to skip ahead a little bit and do it above the paper because there's a slight breeze. It might be enough to carry off some of the chaff. I'll wait for the breeze to kick up again, but you can see it kind of blowing off to the right. Of course, now it's dead still. There's a breeze. And yeah, it is carrying off the chaff. It's even carrying off some of the chaff on the pan. I'm going to have to weight it down. Blowing off the right or not, but yeah, it's happening. And there it goes. This is awesome. So now we're down to seeds and very fine chaff, very fine light chaff. Some people like to separate this remaining bit by just pouring it from bowl to bowl in a light breeze. And just put it in one bowl and back in the other bowl. And I like to just sort of blow off the chaff. And I'll see if I can get you a view of what that looks like. Trick is finding just the right amount of pressure, but you can kind of see this patch right here. It's down to the seed. But yeah, that's amaranth grain right there. There we have it. It took maybe 20 minutes of winnowing. This batch done. This much more left to go. When your amaranth grains are all winnowed and clean, this is what you end up with. A bunch of seeds here, and at this point you can add it to other grains or maybe brown rice or whatever to up the nutrition. But a fun thing to do with it is to pop it. Popping it can be a little tricky, but I found a fairly easy method to try. And the key is to have a smoking hot pan. Not technically smoking, we're at less than high. We have a lid handy. We have a teaspoon of amaranth seeds. And when your pot is good and hot, we're going to dump the seeds in there on an even layer at the bottom. And immediately clamp the lid on and turn it off. And watch it go. Shake if you want, but not necessary. Look at it. Just going nuts in there. And that's what we're going to see. They're probably not all going to pot. That's fine. It's better than burning. And let that for like maybe 10 seconds. Let's see what we got. Ooh. Oh yeah. Nice and puffed up. And I wouldn't recommend doing big batches, just a teaspoon at a time. That's just fine because you see how quickly it goes. You just add it and repeat. Now we have all of this puffed amaranth. For every teaspoon you get maybe a 1/4 cup up to a 1/3 cup of puffed amaranth. And at this stage, you can put it on yogurt or make granola or add it to your cereal. It's very like fluffy and toasty and a little crispy. Yeah, good stuff. For this batch of amaranth, we are going to make alegría, which is a kind of candy. And it's traditionally made around Day of the Dead, which was actually last weekend, so we are right on track for that. But they usually make it in skull shapes, sometimes coffins or bones and stuff like that. We're just going to go with rectangles, but they're still delicious even if they're not shaped like a skull. So in addition to our 1/2 cup of popped amaranth, I'm going to bulk it up a little bit with almost an equal amount of chia seed and sesame seed. Pumpkin seed would be great in here, and it would also stick with the cuisine in the region. Sunflower seeds would be great, but this is what I had in the cabinet, so chia seed and sesame seed it is. In addition, we have a 1/2 cup of sugar and a tablespoon of molasses. Equipment wise, we've got a pan lined with parchment paper, binder clips optional, an offset spatula, and a bench knife. And a spatula or spoon to hurdle, because you're going to need something to stir this sugar till it melts. Now the sugar's all melted. I put that tablespoon of molasses in there and it foamed up and looked scary for a minute, but it is just fine. Traditionally this is made with honey, but we're all out at the moment. I turned the heat off just now. And now I could share this candy with my vegan friends if I wanted to. course I want to. That was some hot candy there and required 2 hands, so I missed the dumping the grains into the molasses and sugar mixture and then onto the pan. One thing I recommend, buttering and greasing your spatula to make your life easier. And I think rather than nice neat squares, we're gonna end up with just bits of brittle, which I am totally okay with. Now our sugar is all melted, a couple more lumps in there. It is time to add the molasses. Oh, for Christ's